Beast Armors. I'm your host, Jared
Beast
Huckabee.
Mode.
And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live or one of our special game dev episodes,
I know
before,
Killian, but
this is where we take about an
You know I
hour
love
out
you
of our
guys.
week at the end of a week, hang out with one of our artists or designers or whomever, and go through a little bit about their process. They get to showcase the working process of how they create something specifically for Star Citizen. We are doing that again this week. We are joined today by one person who perhaps needs no introduction.
Who was the guest?
And another person you've only just met for Star Citizen. Let's get to meeting them now before we get going. Jeremiah Chance.
Jeremiah.
Welcome to Star Citizen Live. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Don't act like you don't know where the camera is, Jeremiah. You know where the camera is. I like your turn. Hi. So Jay Lee.
These two are hilarious when they're together.
Before we get into it, every show is somebody's first show. So give us the nickel version. Who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
I am the resident meme lord of CIG. Also, I am AKA lead concept artist.
Awesome, Killian.
Lead concept artist with the character team.
For the correct.
Yeah. Although you've dabbled in some spaceships before.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. And then to the right screen, Chance, welcome to your first live show.
Yeah, I was going to say I've never seen this, dude.
Tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Let me move the chat
Hey,
up a little
everybody.
bit
I'm
so
Chance
we can
Rome,
read you
the
guys.
character art director, and I'm here
There
to
we
give
go.
Jeremiah a bad
Hey,
time
Latin,
today. So.
welcome to the stream. He looks so
Fun.
drunk. Who, Jared?
That's legitimately how I got Chance
Or
on the
Jeremiah.
show. It's like, hey, I reached out. I'm like, hey, Chance, we're doing this show with Jeremiah. And he goes, all right. He goes, you want to just hang out for an hour and give him crap? And he's like, and there was no hesitation. You know, those times where you're talking and you get the three little dots and like, oh, I wonder what he's saying. No dots. It was just yes.
Straight
Jeremiah.
So Jeremiah, what are we making today?
So, we're going to do
Maybe
a
he's just a little
very
hungover.
interesting concept.
He's drinking that
painting
coffee.
today. We'll be designing armors that were
Okay, so first off, what I gathered already is he said concept drawings. So, like, this is obviously something they're working on right now, like, you know, like in initial phase. And you know, this kind of irks me a little bit. I just want this thing to get like I wish this was something that was already, you know, farther along than just concept. But I get it. I'm glad this is something that is being put on the board because I like the crafting element to gaming. So a lot of people were saying to us a long time ago when we were talking about crafting that this is something that will never be in the game. Forget about it. And then look, here we go. One of the reasons I really think that open debate and not shutting people down like I see on other content creators' channels, one of the things I think is really important is to keep the lines of communication open so that we can get these types of gameplay elements into Star Citizen that will bring more gamers to the game, that will make it much more successful. Red Bear says, and then we have people say the development takes long, right? So on the other side of the spectrum, then we say, oh, feature creep, right? But like, really, I really don't expect this to be the type of an experience that's ever going to stop growing. Like, I really feel like as long as the money is there and the revenue is healthy, that you're going to continue to see just about the most limitless experience that you can get. But sometimes it really does get to me that these things are just now like on the concept table. And I wonder, like things like these, I don't think are necessarily going to affect Squadron 42. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like when we get into things like these, how many of you think that this type of for lack of a better term, let's just call it feature creep, gets in the way of or impedes the progress of Squadron 42? Latin says, how can you build MMO without crafting? Absolutely agree with you, Latin. He says, the moment we knew 3D printing for parts was in, we knew crafting was in. Absolutely. And you still have people who are arguing that it shouldn't be, which is really, I think, just, I don't like to listen to the loudest people, because to me, Latin, it feels like the loudest people are the ones trying to cause the most drama with this project, and not necessarily the ones to listen to just because they're the loudest. Usually the ones that are quiet are the ones that I gravitate to. What's up, Scooter? Welcome to the stream, dude. Red Bear says, we had this workbench from a long time ago. That might give you a hint already, says Red Bear.
Made from a survivalist in Pyro that would use
Survivalist.
Parts off of a creature that we've shown before on the creature segment that Chance was in. So this
a type of way to play the game. I like Jeremiah saying like a survivalist. Like, for instance, you want to live down on a planet, you want to live kind of like old school, you want to live on the planet, maybe build yourself a little outpost, and you want to survive essentially on the planet. Right. These are things we were also talking about a long time ago. New profession, says survivalist Ross. Yeah, and it's confirmed, right, Ross? But these are things that we talked about, for a long time. Killian says, don't think so, GG360. I'm going with the synergy concept there. So Killian saying that he doesn't think that this feature creep really like impedes the progress of, say, Squadron 42. Good, Killian. Good, dude. Welcome back, Anarchy. Welcome back.
This person would be harvesting parts of this creature to protect themselves from the elements. So a beastman armor, kind of.
Beast armor.
Beast armor.
Beast armor. The second best version of Transformer armor. All right. And then Chance will be here to, like I said, guide and critique you. We'll of course take some questions from the chat as we go. You can drop questions.
So we're essentially going beast mode, survivalist mode here, huh?
Letters,
I kind of like this episode.
By brackets. Of course, we will only be doing questions related to the creation of our beast armor or things roughly relating to character team. Remember, we got 2 folks from the character team. So if you're asking questions about turrets or flight models or...
Oh, that's good to know. Ross said they did caveat this, that the concept may never see the game. And perhaps it might not initially, right, Ross? But again, this is something that could also be added after the fact, right? I mean, these are all things that can be added after the fact. Like, everybody really focuses on the now. It's just talking to the gents over at Crying Cow Gaming and this morning, and we were talking about like the now versus then, and we all kind of focus like right on the now, but really what kind of times we should really be focused on the then, like the design, not necessarily for the now but for the then. And it was a really interesting talk. I'll put that on the podcast coming up this weekend. Red Bear says beast mode. For some odd reason, I have to think of the old He-Man cartoons. By the power of Grayskull.
That adorable penguin that has shown up in Alpha 310.
I show my daughter She-Ra.
So
maybe I can answer it. They might not be right.
No. You're wrong enough on your own without.
I love these two. I love the interaction between Jared and
Jeremiah. And we'll get going.
Okay, so as always, every stream. Good concept artist always has reference. So I had to do a lot of thinking, a lot of digging. And I was kind of curious. I was wondering like what type of art I should make, what direction. And so I looked at a lot of like post-apocalyptic stuff that, and also I use a lot of like cosplay stuff because I love cosplayers, the type of craftsmanship that they put in. So the top left, I looked at a lot of post-apocalypse stuff where they put like random stuff together. Like this guy's got like street signs and stuff and some cool like little techie bits here and there. And I really like the usage of these pipes. So I kind of thought I'd incorporate that, especially Pyro being low gravity and also it's hardly breathable. I don't think you can breathe in thing. And so there were some cool like mechanical bits in here. And then also, I don't think I've ever done this before. I started looking at kind of like orc cosplay reenactment type of stuff because they would use like hide and like little bits of stuff that they've hunted and put it on display and stuff like that. So I thought there'd be a lot of cool stuff, especially like this one. And then also looked at like real world references, like a lot of the Native Americans, they would harvest every part of the animal and put it on their clothing, and also they would use it for a lot of things. So like, I thought this was like really cool as well. Let's see, and then I just like these pants, so I put it in there. There's that. But then also I looked at a lot of the newer
look at the Jared Ninja,
the newer spacesuits that we have, new and old. I think this was for the Artemis, I think, moon landing suit, I think, or was it this one? So there's a little bit of that, and also, of course, are the SpaceX. So I wanted to kind of fuse all these together and see what kind of cool shapes we have. And the creature that we will be harvesting, I guess, is this creature is the crab that we've shown earlier. And so we'll be taking parts off of this shape here, and also probably the hard shell, maybe a little bit of the babies as well.
I hate you so much.
Babies are terrifying.
I don't know what you're talking about. They're and also this tentacle thing too, what might be really cool to incorporate in some sort of way. So I'll be playing. I honestly don't have an actual like direction per se of like how like where I want to take it. So we'll kind of explore it together, and then we also have Chance here. And also chat, and we can kind of like work it out together. So I have a base plate.
It is
I don't
funnier.
want to
It
start
gets
off
funnier
in
and funnier
a
the
white
more you
background.
look at it.
So I got so we got this image right here. So this is our base RSI Odyssey suit, and also this helmet is one of our. Oh man, I forgot the name of it. It was one of our heavy outlaw armors. I think it's a good place to start. So I quickly did a little filter and paint over on it real quick, and so we'll be designing the armor on top of this. Yeah.
Oh,
Right. You go ahead and get started. I'm just going to add HR to the call.
Why? Why?
All right. So Chance, as an art director, Jeremiah starts with an idea here. We've got our brief. We've got the basics of our brief.
Funny.
Start exploring the types of armors that can be created using this particular creature. Do you at this point do you just let Jeremiah go off and be crazy? Is this the time where you offer advice and feedback before he gets started? How does this process work?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, usually.
I'm not so opposed to like the armor that I saw on the arm. It is mainly looks like salvage. So there's two different types of like ways that would be cool to craft. Is like both taking salvage off of ship to create armor and then blend it with like hides from animals and just going completely beast mode and just doing like hides from animals.
We do a kickoff meeting and we just start discussing at a high level what our thoughts are on it. Like, as an example, like, would we want to use the little heads off those baby crabs in the thing? And I'm probably not. I mean, we want this thing to look appealing at the end of the day, and I think it just kind of ruined the whole design, honestly. So what I think we usually talk about is like, what would make sense here? What would we want to stay away from? Just initial direction. But I also don't want to be so prescriptive to be like, this is exactly what we're going to do, and Jeremiah, don't be creative at all. So there's enough to get going, if he has questions, that kind of thing. But then we just get started and hopefully, work out some cool stuff that we're happy with.
Yeah. We've done a number of shows about concepts in the past. It's always an aspect I'm very interested in because it's a lot of it is the blue sky time. It's where ideas get thrown through the furnace. You test everything you can. You see what comes out. A concept artist often iterate, 10, 15, 20 times, and they do this work so that all of the other artists down the line don't have to. Don't have to. It's to find that blueprint or roadmap for everybody else down the pipeline. And I'm just endlessly.
It would be cool to be a
fascinated by that.
design, to be an artist, to do this type of work,
I'm
listening to
supposed to
people's
talk,
ideas.
right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just trying to like, my initial idea is kind of like what shapes can I pull from this creature onto this armor? Like obviously like that beak that this thing has is too big to put on any armor.
All right, and we're gonna fast forward just a little bit because I'm curious to see how this progresses here. If I miss anything, let me know. Like, he's really, so, you know, as the talking continues, he's kind of like, you know, shaping a beast armor, if you will. So I kind of get there. So like a lot of these Star Citizen lives are really meant to just be formats in which to talk with the viewers directly on Twitch, on the stream, and just kind of like zap it in. A lot of people don't like that. Like, a lot of people say, well, it's not really anything that's super planned for the game, so therefore we're going to stay away from the discussion. But like, these types of discussions are cool. Some people would disagree and say, you know, like, well, I don't like Space Whales, and that's how Space Whales started out. But that's a very simplistic analogy, you know. Like, there are a lot of other things that stem from this. Like, dynamic weather came from this type of talk, and dynamic weather is huge for me. The basic forms of survival on eating and drinking came from this type of talk, you know. Gas clouds as well, like Ross says. So these are other issues that come up that are positive for the game, and that we are currently some of these design elements are experiencing right now. So I'm just gonna keep fast forwarding here, but I'm getting the idea that you're going to be able to craft from the beasts on planets, and I'm very happy about that. Look, he made like a little crab shield on his arm, on his left arm there. That's cool. I'm not quite sure. Wait, let's go back to this other guy here. What do you do with this other dude? So yeah, he's making it look a little bit more rough. I'd like to even see him a little bit rougher than what he's even getting into here. Hold on a second. Let's see. We can make these things look very I would almost make these things look so simplistic, you know. I would like to see the actual parts from the animals be used. Like, you have to take, like, from this crab, for instance, right? And you have to like shell it out, take the meat out, be able to use the meat to eat with, perhaps use that meat or store it, and then be able to use like parts of the shell to, like, you can see this shoulder piece here, this arm piece here, make it actually the crab. And actually, when you're fighting it, would be cool, so that you could actually, how many more times I'm going to say actually? you could take the shell and you could put it on your arm, and it would be the same shell of the crab that you just destroyed, like exact same colors, and it never changes, and it wears and tears. That would be really cool. Latin says, those people are wrong. This is where we, the backers, need to get in on the discussion. Absolutely, dude. It is early enough to be molded by us by a lot. Yeah, and even some of us who've been around a long time, I like this type of talk. I like this type of discussion. Killian says, I like beast armor for ships. Oh, dude. Oh, man. That'd kind of be cool if we could like put them on our ships. Oh, like that. From Firefly. What were they called? Reapers? Were they called Reapers? I can't remember from Firefly how they would take parts and pieces and mold them on their ship. That would be awesome. Reavers. God, it's been so long, man. Firefly is so good. Reavers. Thank you, Killian. I love that show. Oh, I'm trying to get Christy to watch it. I'm trying to get Christy to watch Firefly. I think she'll really like it. And then obviously I'll have to take her from the series to the movie. I didn't like the movie as much as the series. I thought the series was a bit better. Oh, don't even get me started about the movie. Yeah, Reavers were creepy. And the way that they were like created from a pandemic, we're all going to turn into Reavers, by the way. Anyhow, that was cool. So, okay, I'm probably going to watch that in duration on my own, but I get what it's basically like a concept video. They're talking about it, but it's nice to see that, this is going to possibly be in the cards. That I can't wait. I really like this concept.